This is Tiffany from Eater's Digest on WMBR, and I'm sitting down with Ott. Do you guys mind introducing yourselves?
Hello, I'm Ben.
And I'm Matt.
So I heard that you guys just came from New Hampshire. So I was wondering if you had any sort of like last home cooked meal send off before your tour of the states.
In fact, we did, yes. We stayed with Tim Darcy's mom, Jean, in Keene, New Hampshire. And last night she made a lovely chili. And then this morning we made, I guess this was you guys, but we made eggs and an egg scramble, which was it was a treat. It was an active decision. We could have come down today because it's not that far a drive to Boston, but we wanted the home experience.
Yeah. And the night before that was our last night in Montreal, and I had really wanted to get chickpea curry roti, which is like this Caribbean dish, even though it sounds Indian. And they were closed, so I had to instead Monday thing. Yeah. So instead,
what's with Mondays? Are things
They're
usually
always
closed?
Well, no, this
this
just always
restaurant.
closed.
Okay.
It's called Le Jardin du Carré. If you're in Montreal,
Very
it's
good.
on Saint-Viateur and Saint Laurent. But instead, I had to go to Heskey's, which is this Jewish bakery in the same neighborhood, and get a tuna fish sandwich, which was very nice.
All right. Well, is there a big Caribbean population in Montreal? I'm just curious, is that like a thing there, or just that one spot that you would get?
There is definitely a pretty strong Caribbean population. I think that in that area there's maybe 2 or 3 that I can think of, like roti places. Yeah. But yeah, there's there's a lot of it's like a very strong immigrant city.
Yeah, especially from the British Caribbean colonial heritage.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Jamaica, for example, mostly settled in Toronto, but the French Caribbean heritage is in Montreal primarily.
Okay, and are you all based in Montreal now? You're all living in Montreal?
Yeah.
I read that you guys all lived together when you were in school. Did you guys share cooking responsibilities then? It sounded like you guys shared the responsibility of putting together breakfast before heading out for the tour.
Yeah, definitely. Me, Tim, and Tim all live together. Sorry, Ben.
No.
Oh, you okay?
I never lived. We never.
You
lived
did. You
together.
did spend a lot of time at our apartment though, which was great. But yeah, we would. There was it's funny. I hadn't even thought about it until you asked, but there was definitely a lot of joint meals, and even I guess Tim and I lived together for 3 years, and I think I've lived with Tim Keene for 4 years. So we would cook together a lot, and I think when we'd have band practice, I'm sure we cooked together probably. I know when we used to practice in St. Henry, we would make big things of beans and rice.
Yeah.
Are you vegetarians?
At the time, you weren't, right? 3 of us were, and now 2 of us are.
Okay. Are there any particular dishes that you would like to cook together, or just anything that's available?
I think we ended up doing a lot of I guess Mexican style, a lot of bean dishes, just because I think growing up in the States, it's there's just a strong South American and Mexican population. Especially I grew up in New Jersey and
Where in New Jersey?
Hillsdale, New Jersey, and North Jersey.
I'm from Morris County.
Oh yeah, that's great. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so we would end up making a lot of that, and I think at the time Tim Darcy was definitely a much better chef than I. So my dishes were purely utilitarian. They'd be tofu or some protein. Yeah, they'd be some form of protein with a bread or a pasta or a rice or something like that. And now I think I've developed into more elaborate cooking, but
Okay. And you mentioned a few places that you like to go to in Montreal. Do you have any other recommendations for people that are visiting from out of town?
In Montreal, Matt and I, we got back from tour in Europe and got off the plane incredibly jet lagged because we had to wake up at 3:30, catch a flight, blah blah blah, and we went straight to this pizza restaurant called Pizza Saint-Viateur, which has thing about Montreal is they have terrible, terrible pizza, and Matt and I and a few other people have a theory that it's to protect the poutine as the
Okay.
like
It is.
common drunk food. So like they do these things that must be deliberate to like sabotage pizza. For example, they'll put any form of meat or pepperoni under the cheese, so it gets like slightly not as cooked and not crispy, which I think is one thing that people like about pepperoni.
The bread is just usually very bad.
Yeah,
as well.
the bread's
very stale.
Stale, sweet. Like there's generally like a big lack of sauce. It's like barely spread on. But then pizza San Viator, if you're willing to like take a tiny bit step up.
Okay, I was gonna say this place is good, but
This
the rest
place is
of the
good.
pizza is
Yeah,
not good.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're willing to like pay $25, you know, you're always gonna be able to find a good pizza. However, this place is just, it's like
Is it
it's
25? I guess it kind of is.
no. I'm just saying like, pizza San Viator. I guess it's 20
It's 20. Yeah, for
for the
to
three
share.
cheese.
the 3 cheese.
For two people with quite a big
An
appetite.
appetite.
The only problem is they don't serve alcohol there, but that's okay.
Any other recommendations in
Yes,
Montreal?
I would love. So there's a place that is like halfway between where I live now and where Tim Keen lives now. This place called Momo's, and it's very good. This guy Muhammad, it's basically just him in the kitchen. Sometimes his wife or his kids help out, but it's just like a breakfast place. They have like dim paratha, like particular like dishes and stuff, but he's like very sweet, and he's come to show, or he tried to come see us at a show once.
Oh, that's really
and
nice.
he missed us, but he's a very
He
sweet
made an
guy.
effort.
He did make an effort, yeah. And like we're like regulars there. Like last time I was in there, because I wasn't drinking coffee for a while, so last time I was in there, he was like Matt, great to see you. Like no coffee, right? And I'm like, no coffee, yes.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, that's great. But the food is really good and it's very cheap.
Cool. So you mentioned that you just got back from Europe. Were there any interesting sort of culinary traditions or types of dishes that you had that you hadn't experienced before?
Well, we all went to Athens for the first time, and so we actually had 2 days before we played the first show, and the promoters like were telling us good places to go for dinner, and they took us out the first night, and like we sat down, they gave us water, gave us some menus, and then just brought 2 big flasks of ouzo,
Okay.
which is just a clear spirit that I think is like aniseed flavored.
Yeah.
And our promoter was just like, all right, take your shot glass. And we just like filled it up and just were like sipping on ouzo before we even started eating.
Yeah.
And that happened consecutively 3 nights in a row. Except it was like ouzo, sambuca, and then...
Sambuca?
No,
It was what was
raki.
Raki?
Raki.
Right.
Yeah, it was ouzo, raki, ouzo.
Yeah.
And then, I guess...
This was before. Oh, this was, you said you had a few days before you were actually performing.
Yeah, we
Okay.
flew to
Yeah.
Athens and then had 2 days before the show.
Yeah, that was great. And then Turkey,
And then, yeah,
really good food. Very, very good food.
especially having like real spanakopita or like burek, I think
Yeah.
they call it in Istanbul, but it's ultimately the same like dish, kind of pan Balkan.
Yeah.
Like, you know how it's Greek coffee in Greece and Turkish coffee in Turkey and like Serbian coffee in Serbia, but it's all the same thing. Nationalism in it.
Yeah.
Were there any restaurants that you can remember the names of, or were these like kind of just local places that you
Yeah.
people
they
gave
were, like-
recommendations for?
Yeah, I don't think I would remember any of them offhand. I guess what was the neighborhood we were in Athens? Maybe that would be.
Exarchia.
Yeah.
It's right off Exarchia Square. It's like the anarchist left-wing neighborhood.
Okay.
It's just, they were all around there, as was the venue.
Yeah.
But as for names, actually, I don't remember the name, but I do remember how to get there.
Yeah, you want to lay down. Make a left.
Okay,
at
so
the-
there's a square, right?
That was great, and like I don't know, I feel like we always eat very well just by necessity of like, I think it feels so terrible, like you get so tired and like, I don't know, it like makes it very unsustainable to eat poorly, so like we kind of tend to go out of our way not to eat like fancy, but just to eat like vegetables and like make sure we're getting like reasonable food, and so I don't know, yeah, like we've been really lucky that that's mostly pretty doable.
Yeah, and I heard that the members of the band are all from different places, it sounds
Yeah.
like. So I'm curious if that makes it challenging to reach a consensus about where to eat for dinner. Do you guys all have similar tastes, or like what is that process like when you're deciding where to eat before a show or after a show?
It's actually relative. Like, I mean, if everybody's really hungry, it's kind of like literally like anybody else, where it's like, okay, yeah, fine, that's great. Like, we're just like, somebody needs to decide. But like, mostly it's actually pretty easy. Like, I feel like there's a couple fan favorites. Like, people are usually down for like Thai or like
Vietnamese.
Yeah. I guess like sometimes people are down for like Mexican like burritos or something.
Especially in the States.
Yeah,
it's hard to find Mexican food.
Yeah, in Montreal.
Yeah. Or I was gonna say in Europe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that too. Yeah. We definitely like eat a fair bit of Indian, though. Like, I don't know, kind of waivers, I guess. Sometimes it can be a bit heavy.
We used to have a rule: no Indian before shows. But then in the UK, we ate Indian twice before shows, and that was actually.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, Indian
know,
food in the UK is amazing.
It's so good.
So much
Yeah,
better than here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. There's really good Indian in Montreal, though. Actually, there's like on Jean Talon, west of Park. To anybody who would go.
Okay.
There's just a bunch of places. There's probably like 6 or 7, actually probably more, but 6 or 7 that I know of on a like 3 or 4 block radius, and they're all really, really good.
So
Yeah.
So it sounds like a mix of ethnic food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like sometimes I guess there's also like if somewhere has like a veggie burger or something, I guess we'll do that.
Yeah. Or fish and chips.
Or fish and chips in the UK, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think like the thing is we don't really like by necessity almost of being, I guess, 2 vegetarians and 1 gluten-free, and then 1 person doesn't like mayo.
That's so specific.
Yeah. Like we kind of are. I mean, I think for other reasons as well, but we're just not really drawn to fast food usually. So, like, we don't really go to like burger places or like, and because there's 2 vegetarians, we also don't go to like steak places or stuff like that.
Sure.
So I think it kind of just ends up being the places that like kind of suits everybody's.
And I guess there's also an important distinction between like all the food we're talking about right now is like when we've arrived in the city we're playing.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to get Indian food in a city. It's very difficult. Like
On
the
the road.
lunch,
Yeah,
the lunch is
yeah.
where things get complicated. Like in Europe, they have like really nice rest stops with
Yeah, I've heard
with
about
good
this.
food.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like some places better than others. Like Germany, you can get sauerkraut and like massive tubes of pig, which Tim
Oof.
Keen is super into.
Yeah.
Us
Wait,
not so
massive what?
sausages. I was just
Tubes.
Oh, but
yeah, it's a weird
so
way to
one
phrase
person
it.
isn't a vegetarian.
No,
No.
so
Two
actually,
people
well, in the band, I guess 2 people aren't.
Yeah.
And then we usually travel with Amy, who does sound, and
Right.
and so yeah, she also eats meat, but
They call them tubes.
no. I was
Oh,
just
you
making a
just call
joke.
them tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a joke at like because Tim Keen used to be vegetarian, and then like for like numerous reasons, including just like health reasons, he started eating meat again because he's also gluten free. And so like it's just like he just eats a lot of meat now because
Yeah.
it's like very healthy for him to do so. So it's almost like comical, him at German rest stops.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, is there like a particular snack that you couldn't live without when you're traveling on the road? Because there is so much time that you're, driving in between the cities, as you said.
Yeah.
You got yours? I got mine.
Well, I feel like, can I guess yours and you guess
Yeah.
mine? This is good. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say and I'll be specific if you want.
Yeah.
You're going with nuts.
Yeah.
Do you want me to be specific about which nut? Or
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're going with... Wait, I can see it. The curved...
Cashew.
The cashew. You're going with the cashew.
And almonds.
Yeah, well, obviously, everybody
But-
loves the almond.
Yes. Those 2 and bananas.
Yeah,
Oh,
oh, that's
cashews,
so true.
almonds,
Yeah,
bananas.
I say bananas.
I eat at least 2 bananas every day and
Yeah.
have for
His
years.
doctors have been recommending he not do that. It's too much banana.
And I've said fuck off.
Okay, yeah.
No, you've got to guess.
Yours is
Yeah.
pretzels.
Yeah, it's true. But also almonds.
And almonds.
Corn nuts too, I guess, but those are not very good for you.
Do you guys share
Food?
snacks?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, now that you have 2 records on your belt, have you been able to have more power in terms of requesting certain things on your rider, or has that changed from having one record to two?
I would say, well, it's funny because like it's the biggest difference is honestly mostly just between North America and Europe, where like I think because of the fact that like in Europe a lot of arts venues and like promoters, that's the word I'm looking for, are like state funded or at least like partially state funded. They just have more money, so generally you get like your rider of like, you know, for us it's like hummus and vegetables and water and beer and wine, I guess.
And Irish whiskey.
And Irish whiskey, yeah. And then in the U.S. it's just like, because most places are, you know, don't receive any like funding, they don't necessarily have as much money to like, I don't know, like I guess fulfill certain things, so it just looks different. Kind of like in the U.S. it looks different place to place.
Yeah, we've always been quite humble with riders. We've seen other bands' riders, which the bands would go unnamed, and we've just thought like, wow,
Yeah.
you guys
We're not naming
are
names.
audacious.
Yeah.
Like,
So what
Taxes.
is on it? I saw that there were like there's hummus and
Yeah.
vegetables and
I think
like a
we
cooler of water. and
yeah,
things
yeah.
like
We
that.
usually, I think we have sparkling
sparkling water.
That's yeah.
Uh,
Chips and salsa was
Chips.
a recent addition, I believe.
hummus,
Yeah,
vegetables,
yeah,
then nuts
Fruits.
including cashews,
yeah. Nuts including cashews. Yeah.
fruit including bananas,
Chocolate.
a
High
bar of
percentage chocolate.
80% or higher dark chocolate,
Yeah, that's true.
uh,
Excuse me.
and then 2 bottles of red wine, 2 bottles of white wine, 2 cases of beer, and a bottle of Irish whiskey. Jameson or Bushmills, it changes.
Well, those
We
are
don't
all
care.
fairly accessible items.
Yeah,
I
no
don't
one
think
has
we-
to go out of their way.
No, and like I mean like it's nice when you get in if you're hungry, I guess, and there's like something like healthy to eat. So it's like it is nice when you get it, but I don't think we've ever really like had a fuss if like something wasn't there.
Never.
I mean, we won't talk about the. No, I'm just kidding.
No, okay, so for examples of other bands riders, there's one rider of a band who will go unnamed, but if any of them hear this, they'll know
No,
I'm
yeah.
talking about them. But they probably won't, considering their age, which is a clue. They have
Is
a
this the
rule
Rolling
that
Stones one?
no, it's beer for the crew, but the beer has to be out of the sight of the lead
Oh
singer.
yeah.
Oh.
And then there's one where there's like weed and 2 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah,
and
and,
like a
like-
stunning amount of alcohol.
Yeah,
like truly
yeah.
remarkable.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I guess it's one of those things where, like, I think it's kind of interesting for us because we're at a point where we tour, like, half the year. Last year, maybe a bit more, maybe, like, more like 6 or 8 months.
Wow, yeah.
But, like, a lot of these bands, like, I guess if you've been doing it a long time, they tour, like, 10 months a year or, like, more. And so maybe, like, I definitely find it, like, funny when I, like see the amount of stuff on that. But I guess it's also, like, it's your life. So I guess maybe they, like, these are like things to make them feel
Definitely.
like home, or not home, but
Yeah.
like, you know, like, I don't know. I like, it's definitely silly, but it's also like your job and you're doing it, you know, 300 days a year sometimes or more. So I don't know. It's funny.
No judgment on them.
There's definitely no judgment. Yeah.
If you could request something, like if you did have the power to
That's
make
good.
a bogus request or like a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
outlandish request, what would you ask for?
Wow. That's a great question.
Outland. I can
Yeah,
think of
yeah.
like reasonable things.
Yeah.
Like-
we'll
Sure, go
start with
ahead.
that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then we'll
like-
get more outlandish as we go on.
Club Mate is something.
That's hard to get though.
It's hard depending on where you are though.
Yeah.
Like, so Club Mate would be
Yeah.
huge. I guess something like. Actually, when we were in there and I misspoke and said salmon, I was thinking to myself,
You
like,
want
actually,
Smoked salmon or
salmon
You know
would
what?
be amazing.
Didn't we either have or briefly have avocado on the rider?
Probably.
Yeah.
Avocados.
I don't know why I said avocado. Avocado.
Alright then.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of like. I remember because for some reason there's a lot of like downer attitudes about my enjoyment of pretzels in the band. So I remember one time asking, like mostly jokingly, to have pretzels on the rider, and there was like pretty extreme backlash.
I would have backed you up.
I know.
I must have not been
I
there.
won't name names, but it was one person, and you know who.
It's funny because they're both named Tim.
That's so true. Wow, yeah. I could have just said it was Tim, yeah.
So on the title track of More Than Any Other Day, there's a lyric that goes, "Today more than any other day, I'm excited to go grocery shopping." So I'm wondering, when's the last time you were really excited to go grocery shopping, and what were you going to make?
That's a great question. So we got home from essentially touring from like April last year until December 1st or 2nd. Like there were some breaks in the middle, but it was like pretty nonstop. And so I got home and I like was simultaneously so excited to finally make my own food, but also like utterly exhausted, where I did some things I'm not proud of. I went out to eat probably more than I should have at first, and then like once I got like resituated, I like remembered how much joy there is in cooking, and I was like, I don't know, it's really fun. And like I guess Tim Darcy for my birthday, I think last year, made me a recipe book where like a bunch of friends all put like a recipe.
Oh,
They
that's
like
nice.
yeah, like I guess their favorite recipe or just something, including Ben.
Yeah.
Do you remember the recipe?
I honestly don't. I know it was something
I can't remember
Irish.
what it was either. Yeah,
It was something to do with
it was. Yeah,
some Irish food. I forget.
but they all like hand wrote it and had like, it was very sweet. So I like sadly have been neglecting that, but the whole winter I meant to like go through, but I
You know what
didn't.
it might have been? It might have been the drink I came up with. It's like a mixed drink, which is called the Irish Cactus.
Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing the word cactus. Yeah.
The Irish Cactus, briefly put, is you make a cup of black tea, like English breakfast tea, or Irish breakfast, more appropriately, with some milk, honey, and let it sit for a day in the fridge, and then you put a shot of tequila in it, and it just tastes like cold tea. Something really magical happens where they just completely cancel each other out.
Wow.
That's
interesting. I don't remember truthfully, but that sounds right, and I'll have to try that at some
It
point.
happened by accident.
Yeah.
The invention.
Yeah, of course. As all great things do.
Well, what's the story behind developing that recipe, or find like what
I
what
think-
scenario would that happen in?
This is gonna be a long.
No, I just think my friends and I were living in an apartment and we were drinking a lot. And I think that we just put tequila when we were drunk in cold tea and drank it,
Yeah.
and it tasted amazing. So
All right. I saw that in the Sun's Coming Down video. It features a lot of references to food. So there's like a kid staring at his ice cream, falling off the cone, and like there's a diner scene and broken plates. Does that food reference have any significance to you, or is it really just like the role of the director?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it was like totally on the director. We kind of, because we had made a video with them before, and there's a new Common Part 2 video, and they did a really good job, so we're just like, do what you want, which is kind of hard. But yeah, and so we're just like, we trust you. I think they probably sent like, we're kind of thinking of doing this, and we're like, cool, sounds great. But I hadn't thought of that until you just said it. But yeah, there is quite a lot of food reference in that. I think it's visually, like, especially like melting ice cream is like quite a visually, like, I was gonna say satisfying. I don't know if that's the right word, but like it's an interesting like visual image, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny how often food comes up actually in that video.
yeah,
Because I guess the diner thing makes sense, but people just like hanging around in a diner. I don't know. Yeah.
food is very important to us as a band. Like eating
I think
well,
that's true, yeah.
enjoying food, and like also like the experience of eating and like chatting. Like I think we're very good about that, because I think it's an important, like, I guess principle is not the word, but like act
Yeah.
to because it's like very communal and you get to chat, and I think eating is like kind of can be relaxing, especially when you like bend in a van and you get to like enjoy a really nice meal and like chat afterwards. So
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I was always been thrilled that has been important to all of us, because I don't want to be like a burger band.
What?
The record or record
Oh,
label?
yeah,
or-
yeah. That would actually be great. That'd be fine. Yeah. Should we tell the Dub Thompson? Oh, I just ruined it. No, we can't. Never mind. But anyway, there's just like, yeah, food plays I think different roles. Like, it's I don't know. Like I feel like it comes up a lot how, we, like I don't know how funny it is to think of, like bands that there are definitely bands that like must just like eat a lot of fast food or like, I mean either out of necessity or because they like it. And I just feel like I'm already so tired all the time and like lethargic that like the idea of like if I was like eating like 2 or 3 meals a day that were like greasy fast food, I think I would stop. I would have like already been done in a touring band for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people do it.
All right. Well, I just have one last question. And it's a question that I ask every band. If you were to order odd on a restaurant menu, so this is like encapsulating your sound as a band into a dish, what would that dish be?
Should we come up with a mutual answer, or do you? I think we
let's
should.
chat
Yeah,
it
yeah.
through. Okay, so it's
Well,
gotta be.
No.
Yeah, it's gotta be gluten free. It's gotta
Right.
be
I was gonna say yeah.
veg.
Right. It's gotta be veg. Yeah.
Maybe it's gotta have a
It
bit
can't have any like mayo or anything creamy.
of no cream. Yeah. It's gotta have maybe a bit of Montreal in it.
Gluten-free Montreal bagel.
Gross.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be very good.
Like, just don't bother with the
No,
bagel.
yeah, just don't eat it. Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be. Can Timmy burritos?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
corn tortillas.
Corn tortillas? Maybe. I feel like it might be something like that, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be like a complete protein, like
Yeah.
bean and corn. Or
Yeah.
like maybe something with chickpeas.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be like a chana masala or something. Or like.
Dish.
I wish people could see what.
Yeah, you're so stressed out.
Well, I just, I want to get it.
Yeah,
Because
no,
it's difficult because you don't. I don't want to like pigeonhole like a specific dish that like comes from a specific geographic region.
Right.
Is it? But
You
then
know
like,
what? The roti maybe. Can Tim Keen eat the roti?
No, mate.
Oh yeah.
It's purebred.
Yeah, you're so right.
The roti bit of it is.
Well, he always eats it. He eats the one with the salad. No. He,
Oh
like,
yeah,
he did it
he
without
gets the goat curry.
Yeah, without the
Okay.
I guess it could be a curry.
A curry?
That kind of would make sense for you too, because you're English heritage.
Yeah, let's do. Should we just go with chana masala
Yeah,
with basmati?
basmati. Well, but I don't. What about naan? Oh, basmati and naan.
And naan, garlic
yeah,
naan.
yeah, garlic naan.
Yes.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take that.
Final answer.
Okay.
Probably not a very original answer, but we'll take it.
No, it's fine. All right, well, that's it for my questions. Did you have any other final food thoughts that you wanted to share before we wrap up?
No.
Don't put corn on pizza.
Yeah, or almost anything. Yeah.
We
Well, I
encountered
did
that
that.
once on tour, so.
Okay. All right, thanks, you guys. Good luck with the rest of the tour.
Thank you.
Thank you.